Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 1. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. The not so instant but still match day reaction to Liverpool's victory yesterday over Bournemouth at Anfield in one of yesterday's 3 o'clock kickoffs. Liverpool get their first win of the season. They get their first 3 points on the board after coming back home to Anfield for the first time this season. Liverpool get the job done. It wasn't the most perfect of performances. The first 25 to 30 minutes or so was a bit shaky and a bit ropey. But once Liverpool woke up and rose to the occasion, there was only going to be one winner, in my opinion. And Liverpool obviously got the job done, despite obviously being down to 10 men in partway through the second half when Alexis McAllister saw red from a sort of incredibly baffling refereeing decision that we will talk about a little later on. Goals from Diaz, Mohamed Salah and Diego Jota wrapped up the 3 points for the Reds. We will talk about the performance, we'll talk about the result, and we'll talk about where the Reds go from here. But, as I always say on these videos, do hit the like button if you haven't already and liking the video so far. Do subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. As will, of course, hearing your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section. Do get involved down there. Would love to hear from you all. Would love to read all of those things that you've got to say about the Liverpool versus Bournemouth game yesterday. I'm sure it'll make for interesting and great reading. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk yesterday's performance from Liverpool, yesterday's victory from Liverpool, and everything else in between and afterwards. Look, it was the perfect setup yesterday. First game at Anfield of the season. You're against Bournemouth, who I think are pretty much done for this season. In my pre-season predictions, I put Bournemouth to go down this season. And I still stand by that, even a couple of games into the season. I still stand by the fact that I think Bournemouth will go down this season. And I think Liverpool going up against relegation candidates at home, I think against anybody really, as long as Liverpool are at home, they've always got a very strong chance, or a stronger chance than usual. So it was a perfect setup yesterday for Liverpool to get their first 3 points on the board, their first victory on the board of the new season, and Liverpool deserved it overall. It was a shaky 25 to 30 minutes or so to begin with. Liverpool, of course, didn't start a game off really great in any way, shape or form. Some absolutely dodgy defending, some absolute shaky and nervy defending to really kick the game off. The likes of Trent and Alisson in particular, and a couple of other players that were poor in positioning, just didn't start the game off great, and that's why Bournemouth were able to take advantage and able to take a 1-0 lead in the very early stages of the game, because obviously Liverpool just didn't wake up early enough, and we're thinking, is this going to be a repeat of last season? Is this going to be another one of them games that Liverpool just don't turn up to, even if it is at Anfield, at home, a place where Liverpool are notoriously very difficult to beat, a place that notoriously Liverpool thrive under the lights and the crowd of their home stadium. Well, after like 25 minutes or so, like I say, it wasn't to be. I know that during that time Van Dijk hit the crossbar. I know that there was obviously 1 or 2 other moments that Liverpool potentially could have had their first touch been better. And you know, there was a couple of times in the Chelsea game where I thought if their final ball or if their touch in the final third had been better, maybe they could have got in. So it's slightly encouraging in that fashion that Liverpool have those moments, because we know that as the season progresses, they may get a bit sharper, they may get a bit more, their concentration level may go higher, and maybe, just maybe, they might start working more of those chances into clear-cut opportunities. But it is a little bit encouraging to see that continued. And then obviously Liverpool get the goal back. They get the equaliser through Diaz, and that makes it 2-2 for the Colombian international. And I couldn't be happier for him. I really like Luis Diaz is one of my favourite players in this team right now. Just with the way that he plays, with the skill, the flair, the speed he plays at. It's like a joy to watch Luis Diaz play football. And I'm just hoping that the injury he seemed to pick up at the end of the game is just a bit of a knock or a bit of a precautionary type of injury. I'm hoping it's not going to rule him out for any games because, like I say, he started the season off very well in my opinion. He's got 2 goals in 2 games. He's played very well in both games. And I just feel like this could be a massive season for him and a big season to really start to fill the kind of boots that everyone keeps saying about, oh, he needs to fill in the boots of Sadio Mane, still needs to kind of score enough goals the way that Mane did, needs to press from the front the way that Mane did. I'm really hoping that he starts to prove doubters wrong because I really, really like this guy. And the way that he took his goal yesterday, the kind of flick up and then acrobatic effort into the back of the net. I know it's from close range, but even so, to still do that and to get the time in that kind of position was very, very well taken indeed. So I couldn't be happier for Luis Diaz. I'm glad he got his goal yesterday. And then from there, you could sense that Liverpool were taking over. Mohamed Salah was next on the score sheet. Liverpool win a penalty through Dominic Szoboszlai, who was absolutely outstanding yesterday. He was absolutely outstanding yesterday. I know that people say, well, it's only Bournemouth. But even so, like, there are still times where you can tell this guy is going to thrive, and he is going to thrive. He looks confident. He looks like he's got this arrogance about him that he knows how good he is, which is not a criticism or a bad thing, by the way. It's a joy to watch if you have that asset in one of your players. Everything he did yesterday was pretty much amazing. It was pretty much perfection. He was outstanding yesterday in everything that he did, and I think the only thing that he probably didn't get was a goal to round off what was a very, very good and solid performance. But he wins the penalty. Mo Salah steps up and misses. He misses the penalty. The goalkeeper saves it, but Salah is quick and alive to the rebound and is able to fire home the rebound. So Salah got a little fortunate in that aspect, but he finally opens his account for the season. And yeah, I think that would do him the world of good as well. I think he was very frustrated. Obviously, we saw how frustrated he was when he came off last week. He was unfortunate not to get his opening day of the season goal that he normally tends to get. I know that obviously he did have the ball in the back of the net last week. But it was ruled out for offside, of course. He then came off in the second half, and he was very frustrated by that. So it's good that he finally got his goal, and it was good that it was an important goal as well to set Liverpool on their way to obviously winning the tie at that point, and to obviously go on and secure the tie in the second half through Diogo Jota. Liverpool were reduced down to 10 men just before this, and we'll get onto that a little later on. When Alexis McAllister got sent off for a straight red card, but mere minutes later, Liverpool make it 3-1. Diogo Jota on the spot, a real poacher's effort again. Szoboszlai again involved. His strike was saved by the Bournemouth goalkeeper, but it spills out, and Jota is alive to the spill. He's alive to the rebound. And he manages to prod home the rebound and obviously set up 3-1 to the Reds. And from there, Liverpool hold out. It's a solid win. It's a good win. It's 3 goals. It's 3 points. And it was a very good result and a very good performance by Liverpool all round, barring that opening 25 minutes or so. And a result that certain somebody predicted in their pre-match predictions when obviously I gave that video out the other day. So solid win, solid result. Couldn't be happier about the result. The performance was encouraging as well. I know people will say again, it's only Bournemouth, but even so, like, these were the kinds of results. I know it was at Anfield as well. But these were the kind of teams that we struggled against last week. So to get points on the board early, to obviously get the early win, And we obviously needed a performance and we needed a response this week. It had been a terrible week for Liverpool, a terrible week and a bit for Liverpool. You know, drawing with Chelsea in the sort of underwhelming manner that we did. Obviously losing out on a couple of big players to Chelsea as well in the forms of Romeo Lavia and Moises Caicedo, of course. And then to bring in Endo, who seemingly is an underwhelming signing in my opinion, and they gave my opinion on that this week. I felt like Liverpool needed a reaction, and I'm glad that we got that reaction. We also did see Endo, by the way. He made a cameo appearance for the final 20 minutes or so. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Obviously, was brought in unique circumstances, with obviously Liverpool being down to 10 men, and I think it was at 3-1 up at that time. Yeah, so he came on. I think he did all right. He didn't really put a foot wrong. Like I say, he kept things calm. Obviously, his job was to just slow the game down and obviously to just manage the game out from that point forward, which he did very, very well. So, you know, it's encouraging that he was able to sort of bed in that aspect right off the bat in a somewhat comfortable but still sort of conscious and cautious scenario, with obviously being down to 10 men. So I think that will do him the world of good to have bedded in immediately. Obviously playing his first game at Anfield as well. I think that would do him the world of good, because again, I'll reiterate my point on this. I want Endo to do well. I have got nothing against Endo. It's just the way that I was so frustrated about the way the club has been running these past couple of years, and especially during this transfer window. That makes me feel like Endo is a cheap alternative, and an alternative that we had no choice to take because we messed up our transfer policy so much. Like I say, I wish him all the best luck in the world, but it's just more on the club side that I'm frustrated with rather than him. So it's nothing against him, but it's more on the club and the way they've conducted their business. But going back to the game yesterday, yeah, I thought he did very well in coming on and doing the job that he needed to do. And you can tell that with a bit more fine-tuning and with a bit more understanding of where he needs to play and where he needs to be at certain times, he can definitely fill the kind of James Milner role of filling in multiple different positions. He can fill in at centre-back when needs be. He can obviously drop in as a back three when Trent goes forward or Trent goes more inverted, or if Robertson actually does on the other side, for example, or he can go a little bit more further forward, or he can drop back, he can go out wide. He can fill in multiple different positions, which is encouraging for a player that obviously has only just arrived for a couple of days. So if he continues to build up that understanding, then Liverpool's formation will go back to being fluid and flexible, and maybe we can start seeing the best of the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and maybe even Andy Robertson again, if that is to be the case. I know Robertson's been a bit more disciplined the past couple of games, but of course he is much better when he's flying forward and he's providing an outlet on that left-hand side. So we'll wait and see, obviously, what the future holds for them too, in particular, and how Endo kind of will be important to their roles being enhanced in a more attacking way. But like I say, the one downside and the one thing that overshadowed the game for me was the red card. The red card to Alexis McAllister. Now, I've seen it, I've watched it, I've replayed it over and over and over again. I do not understand how this is a red card, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat as I am. We don't understand how this is a red card. It's not the best of challenges, admittedly. Like, it's a 50-50 in the air. It's an awkward challenge. But at the end of the day, he catches his foot. The studs are down. It's a yellow card at most. And it's a free kick to Bournemouth. There was absolutely no need for a red card. The Bournemouth players weren't shouting about it. No one in the ground, no one playing the game. No one on the coaches' benches or the managers were anticipating or expecting a red card. And the referee from out of nowhere just basically goes, well, I'm a bit bored. It's time to make this about me. Red card. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can come up with a red card in that scenario. And I don't understand even more so how you can have VAR and not overturn it. Well, actually, I sort of can, because allegedly Paul Tierney was on VAR duty for the Liverpool game yesterday. And as we know, Liverpool and Paul Tierney, Jurgen Klopp and Paul Tierney, have history. They have history of a sort of shaky, sour nature. Jurgen Klopp has called Paul Tierney out on a number of occasions down the years, so I can sort of understand why it wouldn't be overturned. But the question is, why does he still get picked for Liverpool games? Does the FA kind of want Klopp to come out and rage in post-match press conferences so that they can fill their pockets with money if he does go out and rage against Tierney, which is obviously frowned upon and not to be done because you can't tell a referee how to do his job? I don't know. I don't know why they keep on putting him in charge of Liverpool games in some way, shape or form. I don't understand how that can be a red card, a straight red. I don't understand how VAR didn't overturn it. And now we've lost McAllister for 3 games. And people will say, oh, but you can challenge it and you can maybe get it overturned. Yeah, we could. And I think we probably will. But I don't see them overturning it. Or at least I don't see them overturning it in a huge way. I see them overturning it. If they are to overturn it, I see them maybe reducing the 3-game ban to a 2-game ban. At best. Otherwise, they're either maintaining the 3 games or they may be enhancing it to a 4-game because we failed our appeal. I don't understand how that can be a red card. And what I don't understand even more about how it's a red card is because I've seen worse challenges in the past and I've seen even worse challenges that very day. I saw last season Tyrone Mings absolutely just studs up, kick Cody Gakpo right in the stomach, to the point where Gakpo later on in that same game scored, lifted up his shirt to reveal all cut marks and blood and everything on his shirt. I saw in the very same in the games that were later on in that very day, games between Tottenham and Manchester United, as well as the game between Newcastle and Manchester City, similar sort of challenges that were given as yellow cards or nothing at all. Anthony Gordon's yellow card that he picked up yesterday was, in my opinion, of a similar sort of nature to what McAllister's was, or maybe even less so. And yet, McAllister gets sent off and Gordon's was only a yellow card. Make it make sense. Give me some consistency. I do not understand how that's a red card. If that is the red card, then tackling in this game has completely gone out the window and it's completely hit and miss. And like I say, I don't expect Liverpool to get this ban completely overturned, which is annoying and poor because, like I say, he's now going to miss 3 important games at the very, well, I say at the very most. They could stretch it out to 4 if obviously they feel the need to make an example out of Liverpool. But he definitely probably will miss next week's game against Newcastle, and that's a massive, massive game. And with the way that Newcastle have started the season, a big win, obviously, last weekend. I know they lost to Manchester City, but they still gave a pretty good account of themselves here and there. That's a massive game to miss, and that's going to be a big absentee for Liverpool going forward. If this ban is to obviously be upheld and withheld in the game for the foreseeable future. So, massive loss. Poor refereeing. I don't understand how right off the bat this season there can be about 3 or 4 different decisions in various games, not just Liverpool, but obviously in various games over the course of the past couple of match days, in which referees have completely got it wrong, and especially with VAR there to help them, they just don't help themselves in that aspect. Absolutely baffling to me. I don't understand it. But that's what we've got to put up with. That's the kind of refereeing and poor standard of refereeing that we have to put up with going forward. But yeah, the bottom line is a good win for Liverpool. Great win. Good performance. Something encouraging at least in what has been a dreadful past week or two. On to Newcastle next weekend. That's going to be tough. That's going to be horrible to play Newcastle next week. I know that we did the double over Newcastle last season, but at the same time, it wasn't pretty to watch for the most part. So I'm interested to see how we approach the Newcastle game, what we do to obviously combat Newcastle, because they're a very good team and Eddie Howe's got them playing some serious football. And of course, it is away from home. It is away from home next week. And our away form last season wasn't particularly great. And at St James's Park, Newcastle are certainly solid. So, with that being said, we wait and see how we approach that game. But yes, a very good 3 points for Liverpool. A very good win. And overall, nice to at least get the season well and truly underway from this point forward. But as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of Liverpool's victory yesterday against Bournemouth in a 3-1 win for Jurgen Klopp's side at home at Anfield? What do you make of the performance? What do you make of the result? What do you make of McAllister's red card? I'd love to know all of your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comments section. So do get involved down there. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll soon speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Have a good day.